Welcome to the D&D Fitness Radio Podcast, brought to you by your hosts, Don Saladino from New York City and Derek Hansen from Vancouver, Canada.
I love it. I love it. I've been busy. Busy's good, but it's getting to the point where you're just like, oh my God, how do I, like, you're going to bed at night, like, all right, I didn't finish everything I have to do. And I've been working really hard,
Yeah, it's
just time.
I don't know. It's certainly like, yeah, I have that quicksand feeling too, where like, oh shit, what did I get done today? Even though you're busy the whole time. And
Yeah. And you get a lot done. You just can't, like, the days of completing everything are like, all right.
well, it's different too, because, in the old days, I'll say that, I mean, you would travel somewhere and you'd meet people and you'd physically do this. And now it's not quite like that. So it doesn't feel like the same tangible productivity, I think.
Right. I'm actually finding now, because I have been traveling. I got my first vaccine a few weeks ago. I get my second shot on the 24th. But even before that, I've been traveling since, I think, December. I had to go down to Florida. That was my first trip. So I really didn't travel between February and December. And since then, I've been on a plane almost every month. And excuse me, as I'm coughing up a
As you
lung.
cough.
As I'm coughing up a lung.
Are you a Pfizer or a Moderna, or what are you?
I didn't have a choice. I mean, I went with Pfizer, whether it's good or not. We actually, my wife went to listened to a really interesting lecture up at the Cold Spring Harbor Labs. The labs are really close to our house, and it's where they go and they do all the research for this brilliant scientists from all over the world. And they gave and there's like a whole campus. Like, the place is fascinating. When you come visit me in Long Island, I'm taking you up there. It's like it's like a campus for scientists, and they're just there, like, doing research and finding out about exploratory drugs and all this stuff that the government won't fund. And it really is pretty fascinating. But she listened to a lecture by a few of the scientists, and they said that, ironically, the one that we heard isn't the best, which is Johnson & Johnson. Everyone's like, well, it's only 60% effective. They're like, no, that's BS. It's something like 60 or 68% effective for the first 30 days. And then it becomes 98% effective. So this is what she heard from them. And she said it's actually the one that they recommend because they're using the same transport system as that have been used for all the vaccines throughout the years. So there's no, like, they know whatever the transport system. So I guess there's no guessing there, because they know how it's been operating for decades. So they basically said that, and you only have to get the shot once. So
Wow,
that was the one we were hoping to get, and we didn't. We got Pfizer, which I'm hoping is fine. But went and got a shot, didn't feel sick. I mean, the next day got a little tired, felt like someone punched me in the arm really hard, and that was it. Then off to the next day. So
nice. No, I'm still waiting. My parents got vaccinated last week. We're a little behind you guys, but they got the Pfizer, and I think there's some controversy over the Oxford AstraZeneca one.
What's the controversy?
They said there's like a very, very minute chance of blood clotting, but I don't think I don't know. I think people are overreacting. So
there's a minute chance that you're going to grow a third arm, but
there's a minute chance I'll get hit by a bus after this podcast. Yeah,
no, it's true.
So yeah, but people are like, I don't want that vaccine, but then they're knocking back, like, drinks and smoking cigarettes and stuff.
It's so crazy. It was like the whole gluten-free thing for a while. You got I used to go when I was living in the city. I'd see women go. It was definitely more women than men. I would see they got gluten-free this and this and that, and then they're on like their fourth vodka, and I'm like, yeah, we should address a different problem here. Like, this is not.
I went to a Chinese.
Okay with a little gluten. What's that?
A Chinese market, and they actually sold bags of gluten balls. Yeah, gluten balls and stuff they want to add gluten to stuff, and I'm like, oh, okay,
interesting.
I guess they're okay.
Yeah, who knows? Gluten may make a comeback one day. Everything else does, Fat did.
Let's write the book, The Gluten Bicep
the gluten
Diet.
The gluten. I mean, think about it. I mean, back in the 80s, whoever thought, fat one day would be promoted? Well, they're promoting healthy fats now. Back then it was like, oh, snack wells and fat free, and let's
There was
just
even
put.
there was a guy was talking about, about all this anti-Asian sentiment. He was talking about how like people had demonized MSG, monosodium glutamate, remember?
Yeah.
Because like, and he says like, well, it's naturally occurring here and there, and in your, so it's not as bad as
So he
everybody
tried
thinks.
saying it's not as bad. It could
Yeah.
also be everything coming with the MSG, right? Like, I'm not saying that I agree with him or disagree with him. I don't know enough about it, but it could also be everything else coming with the MSG. Like,
Yeah.
you'll hear things about saturated fats and this is bad for you. And like some nutritionists are like coconut oil is bad, but other nutritionists are like, well, no, it's good. But saturated fat, I mean, if it's consumed by an individual that's incredibly healthy, is it that bad? Or is it just that it's affiliated with people who have been eating McDonald's and all this other crap? So um yeah, who knows? I mean, we don't know shit anymore. I mean, the only thing, I
No.
mean, we don't even know. I mean, water, which is the only thing that never gets any like finger pointing. Something like, you can drink too much water. I believe you actually can drink too much water. I know for a fact that you can. I
There
mean,
was a coach. I was on a sort of a round table, and he was involved with a Canadian decathlete back in 1996, I guess, Atlanta. And some of the sports scientists were telling him, like, oh, dehydration is going to be the worst thing at Atlanta for the Olympics, right? And so they like hydrated him with like IVs and drinking and all that. And he was deemed to be overhydrated, and it almost like diluted his electrolytes,
yeah,
and so he had some problems, right? And he couldn't compete. So
totally believe. I totally believe that could happen. I mean, I think for a 4 to 6 month span, I don't remember. It was a long time ago. It was. I remember when it was actually. It was back in 99, 2000. I remember the year. I remember where I was working. I think for a 4 to 6 month span, I drank minimum of 3 gallons of water a day, and it got to the point minimum. And it got to the point where
uh,
I started flushing out all the minerals. Like my fingernails became thin and brittle. My
ooh,
skin became ashy. Like it was, and I was like, well, man, maybe I'm overdoing this, right? But doctors are like, oh, you can't drink too much water. Like, you're not going to drink too much water. I'm like, don't say that to me. Like, I'll prove you
well,
wrong.
yeah, like
I'm an extremist.
because of these Zoom sessions I'm doing all the time, like I always have water, like right, like you, right? So I have water. I'm knocking back water. I'm going, how come I gotta pee all the time? Maybe like I gotta get my prostate checked or something. Like it, and I'm just knocking back all this water. So
Well, I mean, I don't think you're drinking too. I mean, they have a basic formula. They're like half your body weight in ounces is a safe, amount to drink. But they don't really get into, well, what about how much you sweat and should you be replenishing that with sea salt or pink Himalayan salt, or what if you're out there working? What if you are an Olympic athlete where you're sweating all day? Like, there's no way it could be half your body weight in ounces of water. It's got to be more than that. But then you're flushing out minerals. So how do you, replenish that? So I don't know. I don't know what my point is. It's just interesting. I just find it interesting.
yeah,
Never a
like,
straight answer anymore.
well, I mean that could get us into the whole sport drink industry, and how valid is that? Like, I watched the documentary on Gatorade and how they came up with it and stuff, and I'm like,
I didn't
okay.
see that documentary. How was it?
Oh, I mean, it was interesting. They just, again, they analyzed sweat and what we were losing, and then they tried to compensate for, the potassium and the magnesium and all that. So,
Right.
um, and they noticed a difference, right? I think one of the I think studies or stories I heard was that they just um, wanted to create something that wasn't just water, so that people would drink it more, right? Too. That
Which
was
makes
another thing.
sense.
Yeah. So but now we're back to water. Water's better, right? So who knows?
Well, they have other things now. This company I'm involved with, Halo Sport, I love. I mean, it's 2 grams. I think it's got 2 grams of sugar, all naturally occurring. It's a mix with lemon, it's mixed with sea salt, it's mixed with magnesium. I mean, it has a delicious flavor to it. Now they're doing it in cans to be more eco-friendly. There are things now I feel like we can drink besides water that are like and listen, there's no faking it with me. How I am with my nutrition. I have a Halo every day. I've literally have you seen the packaging on this?
Um, I've just
Have
seen
you
what you showed me before, but
you
yeah,
actually like look at this because I've been working with the company. We're doing this during the podcast. We're getting into the nitty gritty of everything.
Are they going to get back to glass bottles at some point too?
No, but like, look, like they actually just did this. I like it. This and made with lemons for supercharged hydration. 10 calories per bottle, 2 grams of sugar, organic. Filtered water, organic lemon juice, organic flavors, ionic trace minerals, sea salt, organic stevia, zinc. I mean, come on, there's nothing bad in this.
Okay, so do you noticeably feel better?
Yes.
Okay.
I do. I've been drinking it when I'm playing hockey. I actually have one. I didn't have one today yet. I wish I could hand you one right now. It's
Right through there. Yep.
delicious. But no, I've been drinking. Yeah, I've been really conscious over the last few years about getting more salt into my diet because of the amount that I sweat and the amount of activity that I put my body through every day. And I sleep better. I just feel better. I mean, I can get better working out. You get better muscle pumps. I just feel like I can react better. My thinking sharper. Everything just feels better. When my sodium gets too low, no bueno. But I won't drink. I don't drink anything besides water in this. I mean, this is basically it.
Are you careful about like your sodium intake through your food and
Oh yeah,
not
very. I mean,
yeah.
I only. I mean, when I'm. It's been interesting because I haven't had a kitchen in a month. I'm not gonna have a kitchen for another 2 months. I'm in a full blown renovation right now, so it's been different for me because I haven't been able to meal prep, which we do. But I've been ordering from like Organic Crush, and they send me my meals, and then Trifecta's been nice enough to send me some meals. So fortunately, I have good quality food. But those foods, I mean, Crush has some, I think some pink Himalayan salt on it, which is great. But I'll add it to my meals. What I'll do is when I'm on a golf course or if I'm in an environment like playing hockey or like I play hockey once or twice a week right now, and I'll go out there with a water and I'll literally put a big pinch of salt into that water, and I feel significantly different when I'm drinking that on the ice than I would be if I'm not. Like significantly different. It's not even a question.
I'll buy that.
What about you with your runners? I mean, is there a protocol that you have them follow? I mean, you're in Vancouver. There's not as
Uh,
much snow as most people think. I mean, when you're out there and it's hot or cold, is there a specific protocol you want them to follow, or you just like stay hydrated?
Yeah, pretty much. Because it again, it is like we were out last night running, and it was pretty. It was still chilly. Like it's we're in April now, right? And I'm out there, and I'm like, because I'm coaching, I'm not moving that much, so I'm freezing. Like by the end of the night, I was like, okay, let's turn the heater on in the car.
Right.
So, but everybody's pretty good. I think everybody's educated enough to they have their water bottle with whatever in it. And mostly it's just water. And we have we'll do 4 sprints or something, and then we have a set break, and then everybody goes and they will just automatically drink, right? So I think it's just automatic right now. When you give them a break, that's part of their routine. They just go grab some water or whatever and just rehydrate. So never any problems with cramping or anything. So we've been pretty good.
Also, I mean, how much of that? I mean, in reference to cramping, how much of that do you think is underuse of a muscle,
Oh,
or,
a whole
or
lot.
overuse, right, or opposed to? Because people will cramp and they'll message me like, "Am I low on potassium?" And I'm like, you never can ask me that because I'm not assessing your potassium levels. But like in the back of my head, I'm like, chances are probably no. Like your probably potassium's probably fine. It's probably just underuse. What do you think?
Yeah, I think cramping is not unique to hydration or electrolytes. I think cramping is your body's way of going, hey, something's wrong. Like you don't have enough water or you don't have enough electrolyte, and it's like stopping things. So, um, like this happens to me where I haven't squatted for a while, and then I'll say, okay, I'll, put the bar, put 2 plates on the bar and squat, and then my groin or, my adductors cramp up. Um, and I think it's more like, hey, we haven't done this for a while. We don't have the capacity, so we're gonna cramp up and just give you a little shot to tell you to like be careful. I think that's all it is. And there's a couple other instances where people have had cramping, and it's when we've had them on, like, say they've trained on a turf field, and then we put them on a soft grass muddy field and they're slipping and all that. We'll have a lot of calf cramping and things like that, because I think, again, your body's reacting to a unusual circumstance. So I think it can happen for a number of reasons that aren't necessarily hydration oriented, or it might be circulation, like I think we talked about with Joel Totoro, um, where in football, you know how they tape over the shoe, like they call it spatting the shoe, and so we've had some players where they've had really, over aggressive taping, and they had cramping up in their upper, their quads and their hamstring, and so once we took the tape off and let them circulate again, they had no problem. So it can be a bunch of things.
Percent. I mean, I remember it happened to me one time as you were talking. I started thinking about it. I remember I got hurt playing hockey 5 years ago, maybe, and I fractured both wrists and pretty
Oh,
much like fractured my kneecaps, which isn't it's not a good feeling. But I remember for that month having to really limit movement. I still figured out a way to train a certain amount. Well, you know as well as I do, it's like we want to keep training. It's for many reasons. One, I feel like that there is a mental component to that, but also I believe movement is important. And when you just lay there, I know it's necessary sometimes, but it's not always helpful depending on the severity of your injury. And I remember coming back onto the ice for the first time and literally getting one of the worst groin cramps I've ever had. Like, to the point I thought my groin was going to snap. I actually got nervous when I was skating. And then, I don't necessarily remember what I did for it. I just remember it going away instantaneously. And I knew, I was like, oh my God, like here for the last month or two, I'm compensating differently. I'm walking differently. I'm probably favoring one side. I'm not dropping into a deep squat. Like I've got to sit on the toilet differently. I'm like holding on as I'm lowering myself. All this stuff's going on. But what most people don't think about is like, okay, like you're dealing with the pain and you're moving to not instigate that pain, but you're also restricting other areas of the body, like the ankles, like the hips, like areas that need circulation and they need movement, right? So you stop moving those areas, and then in time, if you don't use it, you lose it. I'm not saying permanently, but that's definitely what happened. Then when I got back on the ice and I tried to require my body to move a certain way, it was like, no, 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 you ain't ready for it.
yeah. Yeah, I've been there. I've been there. That's yeah, I know exactly what you're saying.
What was
But
your injury?
my yeah, this is a good cramping story. I had competed in a track meet, and I can't remember exactly where it was, but it was like, you know, it was at altitude. It was at altitude. So I can't remember what, 5,000 feet or whatever. And we went to a restaurant after the meet, and I was like probably 20 years old, didn't warm down or cool down after hey, let's go eat. Okay, we go eat. And you know how sometimes when you're sitting in a chair and the leg of the chair, you'll kind of wrap your foot around it, like you'll kind of, I don't know, just hook your foot around it underneath. Oh, so,
Sorry, I'm muting it because the lawnmowers are outside right now. I'm literally doing that as we
yeah,
speak.
yeah,
My foot is
okay,
hooked
yeah,
around the leg of the
yes,
chair right now. I'm
yes.
100%. It's hysterical. You said that. I was like, wait a second. Look what I'm
So
doing.
so I did that, hooked it around the chair, and then my hamstring had a massive cramp. And so now not only am I locked into that chair, but when you have a cramp, you want to get up and move and stretch and whatever. So I'm locked into the chair, and essentially the chair falls over, and a coach has to come over and unhook my foot and straighten my leg out in the middle of this restaurant. And I was probably yeah, I was really freaked out, because I'm like, I'm locked in and this is the most painful cramp I've had ever.
Um, they're bad. I mean, I haven't gotten one in a long time, but yeah, I think the only time I've ever gotten them is after injury.
Okay.
I think a lot of that for me in the past. I mean, knock on wood, my injuries have come mainly from contact, like being hit or falling off of something or something, right? I don't want to jinx myself, but yeah, I find when rebounding from those injuries are the times when I think the best example I like giving is like boating, like an outboard engine. If you lower the engine into the water and you leave it for a couple days, it's fine. A week, you might get a little green moss on it. A month goes by. Okay, 3 months, 6 months, you're having full on barnacles, and the boat engine's probably not going to start, right? Because you've just restricted so much motion. And all you have to do every once in a while, if you are leaving that engine down, which you should never do anyway, it's kind of a stupid example because if you own an outboard, you're always supposed to pull the engine out. But if you were to leave the engine down, all you really need to do is run the engine every few days and getting the prop moving. And then the water's going to be cleansing to the hull, and the prop's going to get water flushing through it, getting, through the intake and all this stuff. And then suddenly you have a boat now at just running it for a few minutes. And that's the example I give for the human body. Like, we really have to make sure that we are not loading the joints in full ranges of motion, but just moving throughout that. And I think that's something that most people don't do. And if they were able just to stand up every once in a while and just move their shoulder joints, their hip joints, their ankle joints, their wrist joint, everything in a full range of motion, they're going to be way better off. You have an
So what
opinion on that?
so what you're telling me is
Stand up.
you want to keep the barnacles off your groin.
I want to keep the
Um,
barnacles off my crotch. Bad joke, but
which which is cool because the barnacle story leads us to this concept of the barn. Are you going to tell?
Barnacle Barn, is that how you
Yeah,
thought of
yeah,
it?
yeah.
You like
That's
it's
my
a
segue.
rhyme. That's
That's
your
my
segue.
segue.
We
Yeah,
didn't waste the first, we didn't waste the first 25 minutes. That was an interesting discussion. I think
yeah,
people are going to find that very fruitful.
yeah.
It's a great word.
Keep
The
moving.
barn. The barn, yes.
So what's going on? I just saw big tractors moving dirt in your yard.
I'm gonna send you a pic. I'm wondering how quickly, because you're like the tech genius here. If I was to send you a pic of what the hole looks like now, I'm texting it to you as we speak. Can
send
we
me a
get
send me a pic of your hole.
my whole? I just text you the pic. Can you get that up on the screen to show people what stage we're at? We're in day 3 right now. And
Let's see
to
here.
imagine, I'm wondering if you can get that up. But as you're working on that, I'm going to talk a little bit. So
Okay.
we basically dug the foundation this week. Um, and they began pouring the foundation today. So we are moving really quick. It's a 13-foot hole. Look at that, Derek. Yes. So now everyone can see it right now if you're watching. That's impressive, dude. Well done.
It's a
So you
very
can see, yeah,
you
they
have a very nice hole.
I have a very nice hole. But that is my backyard. And we're going to use a lot of that. A lot of that soil has to go back in, but a lot of that soil is going to be used to kind of level my backyard. You can almost see all the way in the back. You could see the jungle gym. It almost looks like trees. We're gonna have that taken out of the ground and put that back in. But the idea is,
To bury the dog in there.
yeah. The idea is to hold on one second.
He's saying, "Could you please let the dog out?" Yeah.
Yeah, don't guys. We're actually no. Why not edit it? I mean, this is COVID nowadays. The table is in the back of the truck. I was gonna bring it over to you guys at 5 o'clock. Are you taking it out of my truck? Yes. Please don't hurt my truck. It's brand new.
What kind of truck you got?
I got a brand new. Oh my god!
Oh, you're gonna send me a picture of a truck?
I'm gonna send you a picture you can put up. So just let's talk about the big hole for a second.
Okay.
But basically, we started the digging the other day, and now they laid the concrete foundation. What it's going to be is it's a 2,000 square foot. It's a 2,000 square foot barn gym, and we're going to have 10-foot high ceilings in the basement. And then we're going to have 25-foot high ceilings on the first floor. And Life Fitness and Hammer Strength is fully outfitting it. I've got a brand new 5-man. I got a brand new 5-man sauna coming. I'm going to send you a little video of it. You're going to get a little taste of.
So you can sit in there with 4 other men.
Basically.
Okay.
A lot of recovery. So I went and I bought a new truck about a month ago. I had a Dodge Ram Laramie Limited since 2015, and I hit the 70,000 mile mark, and had a couple problems with it around that time. And I was just finally like, you know what? I'm getting myself a new truck. So I traded it in. I just texted to you.
Okay.
I traded it in. Look at you. Are you actually pulling this up?
Let's see here.
I love how we're doing videos. This is fun.
Oh, it's a video. Okay.
It's a video. I could send a pic if you want.
Let's see.
Look how quick you are with this stuff. I
Share
can't believe my
screen.
dad just walked in during a. No, it's not. Yep.
You got it?
Yep. There it is.
Wow, that's
You have to hit
badass.
play.
Yeah. Oh, it's not moving? Oh,
No.
okay. Sorry.
So
Sorry.
yeah, so it is it's got a 6-inch suspension lift, it's got 35-inch tires, and it's like a burgundy color, which I think is kind of dope. So it's fun. It's fun. It's much bigger on the inside than my last Ram. They extended by like 6 inches. The vehicle is huge. So I love it. It's fun. It's just fun. I love driving. So I like driving something fun and big. And what are you driving around in?
I still have my Honda pickup, my Honda Ridgeline pickup. So it's just, I don't know, it's going forever. So I'm like,
How many
okay.
miles do you have now? You have 100?
Uh,
Over 100?
not quite yet. Like I have 116,000 kilometers. So that's probably about 70. It's probably about 70,000.
These pickups last forever. They're pretty incredible.
Yeah.
What year did you buy it?
2012, I think. So yeah, it's fine. Like
Oh, so that's fine. Yeah,
yeah,
that's
it's I don't
I
know. It's still keeps it's in great condition, and I'm like, okay, whatever.
I had an interest. I mean, I wasn't gonna get a new truck, to be honest. What ended up happening was I had a suspension problem. My suspension started like just dropping on me. Like I was doing long
Oh,
distance trip. And I lost my air suspension. And I I call up Dodge. I actually got really upset with Dodge. It was just because I brought the car in 3 or 4 times. It spent 6 weeks in there. No, I'm sorry. It spent like 10 weeks
so
in the shop on and
they
off.
were dodging you.
They were dodging me. And then finally, I just was like, I got so fed up with it, and I wasn't going to buy a Dodge. And I was in the showroom, and I saw this, and I was like, "Ooh!" It was like so. I went from not giving them business to buying a vehicle that was even more expensive than my first one. So hopefully they do the right thing moving forward. But I'm watching them right now. We'll see. I'm going to
Well,
report to everyone. I'm going to report to everyone whether Dodge. The sales guys are always amazing. Like they always end up. They're like the best, and the majority of the service guys, not all of them, some of them are like, 1 second, you're in there purchasing a car and they're like, oh, they go to servicing, they're all like, ah. It's like complete, so funny. Um,
but they you're using that to help with the reno, like using the
no,
try. Yeah, okay.
no, not at all. I
Yeah,
use
you
it in the
just drive.
morning. I use it in the morning to drive to the gym or bring my kids to school or go and get coffee. Or especially with COVID, it's funny. I cannot believe the mileage I put on my car during COVID because the only thing that we did besides stay in our house was drive around. So we'd
Oh
go
yeah.
for, you go for walks and we would literally like get in the car and drive around. I'm working with my wife now. So her and I, sometimes our meetings would be in the car. We would like drop Donnie at school at 8:30. I would do my morning Facebook group and get that all done. And I would go grab a coffee with her and we drive for like a half an hour, kind of have a meeting, catch up. And then like I'm off and she's off. And I've seen her once today. So yeah, I mean, it's
So
so
are you
what's
ever
that?
going to get an electric car? Like what's your thoughts on that? Because I just saw like
I think they're amazing. Yeah,
yeah.
I think they're incredible. I'll definitely, without a doubt, own one day, 100%. I think we'll all own one day,
Well,
100%. I
we'll
don't.
have no choice. It sounds like
Right.
almost.
I don't know why we haven't moved to it yet. I mean, listen, I love engines. I love old school engines. I love carburetors. I love throaty, you know, vehicles. I love things that sound tough and mean and like old muscle cars. Like I love that. Like you wonder what's going to happen to all those older classics. Like are you gonna be taxed a little bit higher on them if you own them? And is it like, or is there only a specific amount of time you're allowed to run it, because of air pollution? Like I wonder what they're going to be doing for that sort of thing. But
Also,
man, yeah, we should be in electric cars now. I don't even know like what the hell's taking us so long.
you
The
see this?
technology's there. What's that?
Does that come
Yeah.
up?
Oh my God, it's beautiful. Who's
Yeah,
that?
so that's my father's. It's been in our family. He bought it original, 1965.
That is gorgeous, by the way. That is like
So
cherry condition, by the way.
yeah, so it's we got it restored and all that, and so it's just sitting in the garage. It's not, but at some
Does
point,
your father drive it at all or no?
once in a while, as now that the weather's going to be better, so at some
Is that his
point,
baby?
oh yeah, it's the original. I remember riding in the back, no seat belts in the back, just lap belts in the front, and yeah, yeah. So we'll at some point. I mean, he says he'll give it to my son, so I don't know if that might be
You
a
may
little
not
too
get
much.
it.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Your son hasn't earned that yet.
No,
He's not gonna treat it good. He's gonna be taking it through car washes and stuff. He doesn't,
yeah,
that thing is, I mean, wow, that is a classic. That's an original 65. I mean, did he have to change anything on it?
not really, not
That's
really. We
unbelievable.
we got, I mean, we got the wheels were
Yeah, no, I could
new,
tell.
but other than that, that's pretty much what it looked like when he bought it, same color and everything.
Good
So
for him. Wow, that is awesome. That is a beautiful
so
vehicle.
so at some we were talking like, well, you know, maybe we should convert it to electric or something, right? Who knows? Like,
What are you nuts?
I know, I know, I know, but I
That should be like Ferris Bueller's Day Off. You should put that thing in like you should build a wing in your house and just let it sit there
yeah,
and stare
yeah,
at it. It's like
sit in it.
yeah, but that's what I'm saying. That's a beautiful vehicle. These classics are gorgeous, and it bums me out sometimes when they try and redo a classic. Like I think what they just did with the new Bronco. Like, what are you thinking? Like you should be shot. Or like the designer, whoever decided to create that vehicle. I don't understand. And I know I'm being a little hard on them right now. If they knew my
So,
sense of humor, they would find it funny. If they don't know me right
so
now,
you would just want the OJ Bronco to be just produced?
no, not that one. I think you got to go even further back. I don't think you go to the OJ Bronco.
Okay.
I think you got to go, you got to go further back into the
Yep.
70s, and
Yep.
you got to bring back the old Broncos. I think that would be killer. If you were able to go back and and remake that classic. I don't You wouldn't be able to keep them you wouldn't be able to keep them in the showroom. Everyone would buy. I would buy one. My wife would literally be driving that as a regular car. She loves it. But the new ones now, they have like 15 different options, and it just doesn't look tough. It just doesn't look tough. You see it coming down the road, and you're like, I can pick this thing up. Like, what is this? This is a Bronco. It's supposed to be a Bronco. Like, it's got to be tough, right? I just think it was a bad progression, in my opinion.
Well,
Um,
my kids think it's cool, so I think that's what they're going for, right? They're, who's going to be buying this eventually, right? So I don't know.
what, the Bronco? And
Yeah,
they are affordable. I mean, if you look
yeah,
at it, there's a lot of value there. I mean, if to be able to purchase one of those things, what do they retail for? I think they start as low as like 30 grand or 35
yeah,
grand.
yeah, yeah. So
So that's like for a car, that's in my opinion inexpensive. Like that's pretty good.
yeah, nowadays, yeah.
What a
So
car. I mean, if you go in and buy a car now for 45, 50,000 bucks, that's like a good price.
yeah, yeah. That's a yeah. That's I don't
I
even
mean,
want to think about it.
what is a Honda pickup? I mean, my my first Ram, I think, and it was fully loaded, decked out, like fully loaded. I think it was like 53,000
Yeah,
bucks. My first
yeah,
Dodge.
yeah. Over 50, definitely.
Yeah. I mean, the Hondas, are they comparable in price? A little less expensive?
Um, I think it's still about, you got to spend at least 50 to 60 grand at
Yeah.
least, right? So
Yeah.
um, so that's just the way it is now. So I'm in no hurry. Like if I figure it still runs well.
Why
I don't,
not?
why would I spend
I
money?
wouldn't have gotten a new vehicle if I wasn't had problems with it.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing. Like I have a few little dings in it and stuff, and I'm like, okay,
It's fine.
it's christened, right? It's like, I don't stress out taking it to the parking lot. And yeah, I'm one of those guys who would, because into fitness and all that, I would park in the far side of the parking lot, away from all the other cars, when I first got it, and then, walk whatever to Home Depot or whatever. And every time I did that, Don, every time I would park it away from, some idiot always parked right beside me.
Yeah, and then they would always wait, hold on.
That's so
My
it's so annoying these days. The doorbell keeps ringing and
No,
people are
but you want to know what
delivering stuff to us.
I literally I don't. If I was to give you a tour of my house, I don't have a house. I mean, this is my room right now. My office is a combination of the office, the kitchen, the dining room. It's one room. Like right now we have to have dinner here and for it to eat anywhere in the house. There's one other room in the house that's not destroyed, and that's the gym. And our bedrooms and two of our bathrooms out of the three. So everything's just getting fixed. So, it is what it is, but you also have no privacy and you're also, dealing with it. So whatever. I
You
mean,
should have built the barn first.
we would have. I mean, our architect did great plans. I mean, but man, did we miss that ball. I mean, I mean, he was talking about being ready by the new year.
Mm.
We didn't get permitting until February. So It's a little late. It's a little bit late,
So
but you
what
know.
you're saying? What's the full square footage of the barn?
So it's 2,000. So we have 1,000 basement with 10-foot high ceilings, and then we have 1,000 ground floor with 25-foot high ceilings.
Wow.
And it's a nice. I mean, as I just showed the picture, it's going to be big. And I've got some cool little toys coming. Life Fitness and Hammer Strength was nice enough to lay everything out for me. And the basement's going to be like where the power rack is. And I actually have some plate loaded equipment coming in. It's just fun. It's just like I wanted to have in the basement. I didn't want it to be a place where like we were pushing sleds or doing anything like that. I wanted more fixed equipment down there. So
Mhm.
we put some plate loaded equipment down there by Hammer Strength, just some fun, like come and get a pump type of, workout. And then, lat pull down, cable row, stuff like that. Isolation movements. No, I mean, I think I have a preacher bench. I think that's about it. But then when you go to the ground floor, we have a test area where Life Fitness and Hammer is going to be sending in like a piece I think every quarter for me to test and showcase. And we'll have dumbbells from, you know, 3 pounds, starting from 5 pounds all the way to 150 in 5 pound increments. And
Wow.
then, which is a lot. And then we'll have kettlebells up to 48s and then a dual adjustable pulley, an air bike, a rower, a step mill, the true form. Life is going to give us their new version of a motorless treadmill, which I still haven't seen yet, which I'm sure is great because they've been creating some cool stuff. And podcast area. So I'll start shooting our podcast from out there, and it'll be quiet and good lighting and good sound and no dogs barking. So that'll be fun. But I think what's cool about it is that the doors will slide open. They're these 12-foot wide doors, and the gym kind of becomes like a little indoor outdoor feel. And I got a 5-man sauna coming out there, which we're going to put outside. It's an outdoor sauna that will be
Okay.
able to run for like 3 seasons right next to a cold plunge. So after a workout, when I have, you know, guests in or people in that we're shooting content with, we'll be able to get a workout, have the sauna hot already, get in the sauna, hop out, hose off, jump in the cold plunge. And then there's a shower downstairs where you can just get cleaned up and go about your day. And it's going to be like a miniature drive that I'm going to do to it, all the things that I was unable to do at drive, which is interesting because when I opened drive, it was like, I hate using this word state of the art as gyms because it's such a joke because, even with gyms, when things aren't state of the art, they're normally the way that I think they should be, like less is more type of approach. But, opening drive, there were so many things that I think I look back on and I was like, oh, wow, 15 years later, I wish I did this differently. Or there's always like, and you only see it in your home when you have a rent, you're renovating your house a lot, right? You've been doing some renovations to it, and there might be an imperfection somewhere that no one's ever going to see, but you're going to see, right? And you always just kind of come back to that. So I think that's what drive was. I think drive was a big stepping stone for me, gave me more things in my career right now that I can be grateful for. But there was a lot of, you know, unfortunate things that came with it. There was a lot of struggles that came with it, which, I'm partially happy I went through, but some of the things I was just like, man, we didn't have to go through that. That was not
So
even
you're gonna
allowance.
have on that note, you're gonna have really good air circulation and air conditioning in there.
We're gonna have beautiful air circulation. It's gonna be nice. Yeah. So it's things like that you can just control and not have to deal with a landlord, which is gonna be great. Actually, I'm still dealing with my landlord now. I haven't talked to him, but we'll find out what the courts say. But that's it. Um,
You gonna have any like solar panels on the roof or anything like that to help
it's a
power
good
stuff?
idea. It's actually a good idea. Um, I don't know. I got to look into it. Um, that's another thing. Like, why isn't every household using solar panels? Like, is it that expensive to hook up, or are there any tax breaks you get on it? I know nothing about it yet, so I have to kind of look into it. But how's your renovations going?
It's going slow because a lot of it is just finding the tradespeople available because it's very busy out here. Like I must be everywhere. Everybody's doing renovations, probably more renovations than well. There's still lots of new construction too, but the prices of like the housing prices have just gone through the roof, and it's crazy. Like um, people are getting into bidding wars and bidding, $500,000 over the asking or so
Really?
it's yeah, it's
That's
just
insane.
it is insane. So I don't know where all the money's coming from, but it's definitely money out there to buy a new house. So,
That's good for your property value though, right? I mean, you have to be
oh
happy
yeah,
when something goes like that
yeah,
goes, right?
yeah. We're I have the oldest, shittiest cars on the block. Let's just say. So it's you're like, oh, look at that car. Oh, nice. That's
So how far are you from the track then? The track you're always shooting at?
it's probably about 15, 20 minutes. It's not too bad.
That's
So
not bad.
yeah. So and we just wanted to get warmer. How's the weather there now?
It's turning. It's going into a good direction right now. I mean, early morning you walk outside, it's a little cool. You need like a sweatshirt on, but by the afternoon you can get away without a sweatshirt. You can get away without shorts if you want. We're like at that stage right now. I mean, you hope in the next few weeks you don't kind of get that backlash of, all right, well, feels like February, March again, which typically normally happens in New York. But
Do you
right
have
now, so far so good.
do you have it set up so that you can like open a garage door on the barn and do the outdoor indoor thing and
There
like
are these doors, these big sliding doors. Yeah, it's going to be like that. I mean,
okay.
it'll, yeah, that's kind of that's the idea. That's the feel. I'm psyched for you to come out. I mean, I definitely, I mean, we have to figure it out. I mean, I'd love you to come out and
You got to put in a
hang
little
out.
running track outside
You know,
too.
I
So
was thinking about, you know what I wanted to potentially do? Maybe like a sprint turf.
yep.
Like,
I know.
because I have a lot of space back there and I could probably lay down some type of sprint turf.
Yep.
Um, I wonder what the maintenance is on that or how difficult that is to do. I'm sure they have to lay down a concrete foundation if you're laying down the turf. There's a whole bunch of
Or
stuff
they'll
you
at
have to
least
do.
have to do like the typical is like a gravel and sand base. Um, for all these fields because there's the drainage requirements. So
Right.
yeah, but I think once it's down, you're probably good for about 10 years. I mean, you're not going to have a lot of traffic on there. So
No, but I've been, I get it. I mean, I'm training right now 5, 6 days a week, and I'd say 5 days a week right now, I'm doing some type of plyometric or some type of, you know, skipping, running. Like I have been doing a lot of those falling starts. Like I will go through. I spend now probably 30 to 40 minutes before a workout between foam rolling, mobility, and going through a lot of the stuff that you promote in your sprint coach workouts, A skips, all that stuff. And then I like by the time I get through my mobility, it's 15 minutes, and I'm spending another 15, probably 20 minutes a day on your stuff. And it's amazing how quickly you feel that elasticity come back. And it's amazing how much better your body feels. Like back's not sore, hamstrings, which have been really tight over the last couple months, are starting to lose that a little bit. It's pretty awesome. And my body's feeling pretty good from it. So, what I'm doing is I'm probably doing like 2 days more of that falling start work, whether we're doing plank starts or whether we're doing a falling start, and then one day might be more plyometric base, like a third day, and then we kind of roll back into that, but always doing that. I don't like saying dynamic warm up, but always doing my foam rolling and my mobility. And I think 35 to 40 minutes of that of all in there. I know the workouts are definitely a little bit longer because then my lifts are about 45 minutes. So you're always an hour and a half in, but my body feels better. My body needs it. And for the way that I want to lift and train, like it's imperative. So it's almost become um I've been primarily focusing that more than anything else now. And just kind of going in with my lifts, they're on like cruise control because I just think I've been in that mindset for so long. But my body's starting to feel really good. I'm pretty psyched about it.
yeah, if you had a nice like 20-yard strip or something out there,
Yeah.
you could do all your drills and sprints. And even for your kids, right? Like they're going to be probably doing more of that type of training too. So
We'll have a
uh,
lot of fun with that. Yeah, I think that's a good idea. I might add that in. I might call Perform Better and see if we can add that in. But yeah, I want to get you out here. We have to talk about. I mean, I'm going to be done probably June, so May, June. So I'd love to have you out. I mean, I don't know what your travel schedule is looking like. I mean, if you have anything to the East Coast, I expect to be the first one that you call and
oh yeah,
tack a
yeah.
couple days
That's
on,
that's
and
a
you come stay with me.
that's probably the first trip,
Good.
once they
Yep.
once the because there's still all these extravagant quarantine uh regulations, right? So if I were to leave, then I'd have to come back and quarantine in a hotel for I don't know 3 days and then maybe another 14 days. So I'm like,
Yep.
I'll just
Yeah.
jump
Yeah.
on
No
Zoom for
way.
now. So
Yeah.
once the vaccinations reach that critical mass point, I think it'll probably be better. So
All right. Good deal. Anything else you want to cover?
No, I mean, I think I just wanted to learn about your project because I saw the pictures.
It'd be fun.
Um,
Well, I listen. I want you out. I want us to do. I have a videographer that I work with now. So when you come out, you and I, we could shoot like workout content, but I also want to shoot a lot of what you do with what I do. I think it could be fun. I think we're gonna have a good time. We can film a podcast, do something kind of live for once, being like, make a joke out of it, like how we've been doing everything through quarantine. So we wanted to bring in a videographer today to make this really special and put that up and have him edit it and clip it and see how that comes out. And yeah, I'll have a whole plan for us. I'll have your food laid out. It'll be
you
nice. You'll feel like a king
well,
here. Don't worry
you
about it.
can. I mean, it sounds like you could even do like a high level, sort of elite level, like educational event, right? Where you bring people, a small group of people in and do some teaching and stuff.
Do you want to
So
do that? Do you maybe you and I host a course? Maybe we
that
bring
that would that would be interesting. That would be really
we
interesting, I
can
think.
we can really do that. We can
And then you do debriefs, on the deck or something like that, and everybody sits and does a round table thing, and I don't know. I think it would
oh
be
no, I think that's a great idea. Why don't you and I figure out a format and we put it together, and we could even bring in like a nutrition coach if you want to. We could bring in Coach
yeah,
Adam, who's
yeah,
a few minutes away from me. We could bring him in and have me, you and him and go through nutrition. But maybe we'll
yeah, something to think about because I think as a sort of like a in-person event, it would be pretty interesting.
be fun. We can, and we'll get a whole bunch of people from Long Island, also the city. They would come out and take the trip, and maybe it's is it like a 1 day all hands on
Yeah,
with workout where we kind of make it a little bit of a, it's like a
and we
lecture, but it's also
yeah,
hands on.
or we could all bring a tent and sleep in the yard or something like that.
I gotta get housing. I gotta get housing. What am I doing?